file bankruptcy. But they don't realize the penalties to it. Then when people do file bankruptcies, they file the wrong ones. Because, you know, the attorneys are set up to make more money on the Chapter 13. Chapter 13 is a repayment of debt. But if the car gone, the house gone, the credit cards are gone, what you repaying? It's gone. There's nothing to repay. You repaying something you don't even have. So you want to do a what? There you go. There's some folks that did Chapter 7 in here. You want to do a 7. I know. I had my run of them. I ain't going to tell you a lie. But the whole thing about it is that you have to do it sometimes, but sometimes you don't have to do it because there's statutes of limitations of debt. And once debt has met its statute in time, then you don't have to do a 7 because you've already been freed because you did the time. We'll talk about all this. So basically there's 3 major credit reporting agencies: Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. These credit reporting agencies, we're going to talk about establishing credit pitfalls, how to avoid them, budgeting, and basically just understanding the process of it. So do I turn? Right now. Okay. So but here, what we want to do is educate people from coast to coast. We can help speed some of this up. The 3 major credit reporting agencies are privately owned. A lot of people call, who do you call, what do you call Equifax?
A business.
It's a business, but what does a lot of people call it? That's right. They put that in our head. What is a bureau? That's the FBI, isn't it? The CIA is a bureau. Like the gentleman here said, it's a business. So the 3 major credit reporting agencies is equal to McDonald's, Burger King, and Wendy's. They compete against one another. These credit reporting agencies are basically geographically located. Equifax is where? So they run from the East Coast, from Miami to New York. TransUnion is located in the Midwest. It ranges from upstate New York, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana, Illinois, Wisconsin. All that's TransUnion. So if you go buy a car in that area, they're going to pull the TransUnion credit report. If you buy a car in this area, they're most likely going to pull the Equifax report. Is that correct? And so where is Experian located? It's the only thing left. That's right. It's from Texas to Nevada to Arizona to California, all that whole region. But they compete to get business. The 3 major credit reporting agencies don't communicate to each other. It's easily for you to tell because there's different information on all 3 credit reports. There's nothing that they don't communicate. So I just want to get that correct. And people think that there's nothing to do that you can do about fighting your credit. That's not true. These are privately owned companies. For people that's old enough in this room, if you can remember, or your parents, when they used to apply for household finance or Montgomery Wards, that's old school talk. Okay? What would they have to do? They would have to write down JCPenney's, the phone number, the account number, the address. Montgomery Wards, phone number, account number, address. You had to do all this stuff, and it would be a week before they got back to you to let you know if you were approved. And why was that? Because you're dealing directly with the source. You're asking JCPenney's, how is this person paying? But now the credit reporting agencies accumulate all this information, and they're getting it within seconds. But so as they accumulate it, there's errors that's being made with verification, documentation, and all kind of stuff. So therefore, you do have a legal right to challenge the 3 major credit reporting agencies on accuracy, on errors, erroneous, outdated, obsolete, and all kind of things. The Fair Credit Reporting Act enables us to challenge the 3 major credit reporting agencies to make sure that this information is right. And if it's not right, they have to fix it. And we know they don't fix everything. There's things that have been paid off, but it's stopping somebody from getting a house because they refuse to change it. They're not the most fairest people in the world because they're privately owned. They're in business to make money. So basically, you know, by them holding that up, it's stopping you from getting your home. And then they keep putting information on your credit report and keep moving the date of last activity. So if you go to pay something, it was 9 years old. You pay it, then they update the date to where it just got paid in February 2016. Now it's staying on there for 7 more years. That's not fair. The credit reporting agencies sell all this data to companies so they can solicit you. You can live on West Paces Ferry Road. That's the richest road in the state of Georgia. But if you got a 525 credit score, you're going to get First Premier mail. You ain't getting American Express or Discover or these other top companies. It's because they found you through your credit score. And they got the credit score from these 3 major credit reporting agencies because they're seeking people who can qualify for their cards. You can live in the worst part of the West End, which is good country, but you can live wherever they say that's geographically challenged. But if you got an 800 credit score, you get an American Express mail. They found you. See, they used to do it geographically, but they realized that people got bad credit all over. If you don't think the credit business is big, it's bigger than ever. Why you see Credit Karma on TV every other commercial? You see Experian on TV every other commercial. So what does that mean to you? Bad credit is more than just a minority problem now. When bad credit became available to everybody was approximately in January, February of 2007 when the mortgage crisis hit. Because all them houses on Windsor Road and all through Buckhead and Peachtree, Dunwoody Road and all this, the cheapest house is $1.2 million. Those people don't make that much money. They school teachers and nurses. How you moving into a $1.2, $1.3 million house? Well, the reason you're moving into them because they created this 1% loan. To where you can go buy a $1.5 million house and only pay $2,300 a month for it. But that loan was only good for 5 years. But they assumed that the economy would keep growing, that it would be worth 2.1 and they could sell out and they're good. But it went down. And there's nothing to requalify because you can't qualify because you pay 1.5, the house is worth 750. So bankruptcies came available to a lot more people. Bad credit went down. The jobs and everything else went down. Unemployment. Big companies, and then when President Obama came to get elected, then a lot of these big companies stopped hiring, you know. They made people do more for your money or leave because I got 10,000 applications ready for your job. So everything is business. So since we know it's all business, then we need to do business for ourselves and protect ourselves and build our credit so that we can leverage our credit to win. Does that make sense? Because see, we could have really won during that bad credit epidemic because so many housing prices were so low. But if you didn't have it together, you couldn't take advantage of it. But there's still pockets in this area that we could still take advantage of low pricing. Okay? So we talked about the Fair Credit Reporting Act. That's there to protect consumers. There's credit errors. We talked about that. We have legal rights to be able to protect ourselves over credit. This is a good subject. The Fair Isaac Corporation, FICO, is known for. They're the people who maintain the body of our credit. FICO is the most important out of all of them. It don't matter what the credit reporting agencies report, it's what FICO says your score is. That score is basically determined from a body of behavior that's on your credit report. And within this body of behavior, the lenders look to FICO whether they should lend you or not. If you go into American Express or things like that or try to get an American Express card, if you're at a 760, 770, you can get one of them platinums with no limit on it. And you can work at Walmart. They don't know you work at Walmart. They don't know how much you make. You know why? Because they approved you in 15 seconds. That's too much to verify. But the card gone now, it's in the mail. So now you're able to go and start your business, to start your gifts, to start your talents. No matter what you make, build your credit score. We're going to talk about how easy it is to build a credit score. You can build a 760 credit score off of a $200 credit card. Because see, a $200 credit card, you're not judged on how much credit that they loaned you. You're judged on what? Payment, paying on time. How you use it means how you handle your balances and how long of a history you have. It don't matter if it's $200 or $20,000. They're not judging you on the $20,000. They're judging you on paid as agreed, how low you're keeping your balances, and how long is your history. How hard is that? It's not hard at all. And so what we have to do is to understand what they're looking for. And whatever FICO says is what lenders utilize. So basically, 35% of your credit score has to do with paid as agreed. Are you making your payments on time? It's critical. It's the largest factor on your credit report. So even though you're like 3.5 weeks late, you're like, I'll just pay them next month because I'm already late. No, you're not. 3.5 weeks late means that you're 24 days late. What is late?
30 days.
That's right, 30 days. So 29 days, you're still not late. But make sure you call in before 2 to save that late payment. And sometimes, even if the money ain't there, do a check by phone. It take a couple days to hustle it up. And then, even if you still don't have it, they may rerun it back through. That's 4 or 5 more days. Hopefully, a deposit has been made and they gave you credit for that payment. Then to just let it go. Letting it go is too high of a penalty. It's 35% of your credit score, and it's going to stay in your credit report for how long? 7 years. That's a high penalty. So you can be at a 750, and you're dropping down to a 680. You get a $10 medical to hit your credit report, that's going to drop you down another 70 points. Now you're down to $10. So a $10 medical bill can hit you as hard as a late payment on a car or a house or a student loan. See, FICO is there to protect the lenders from risk. FICO is the police. They tell everything. And so what they're doing is they're letting the lender know who they're lending to. So we have to maintain that credit behavior so that we don't drop the ball. Then there's other things that you can do in case if you lost your job or you got laid off or you got a reduction in pay or your spouse lost their job for a little while. There's programs that's called hardship programs. We got letters for that. Where you can, if you're uncomfortable with communicating to a lender, send them a letter. Certified. We have them. They're called hardship letters. And all you have to do is explain to them, due to these circumstances, I will not be able to pay, or I can pay some, but not the full amount, whether it's car or whatever it is. And they can put the rest of it on the back end if you haven't done it too many times. And in that letter, you're also asking them to please don't report me late. Please don't add additional interest or any penalties. But see, when you don't communicate, that's when they get you. They don't want that car back. They really don't. They don't want the house back. It's a burden for them to have to go through that process of sending an agent out to market it, to do all this stuff, and then sell it. They don't want to take the car back. So they just want someone to communicate to you. You have to protect your credit at all costs. The next thing that people are really confused about, and they listen to their friends, and their friends got a 480 credit score, is your balances. Your 30% of your credit card, of your credit has to do with your balances, your score. 30%, that's the second highest factor. Now, would they judge you on your balances on a mortgage? Yes or no?
No.
Why? Huh? No. Well, one part of your answer was ahead of time, but it's correct. But the real part of the answer is they can't judge you on your balance on a house because it's 360 months or 180 months. It takes too long to pay for it. They can't judge you on your balance on an auto loan. Why? Because it's 60 months, 72, 84. It takes too long to pay for it. So they can only judge you on paid as agreed and on this factor here, length of history. But what can they judge you on your balances? That you have full control over it. That's right, credit cards. The gentleman said in the back about revolving credit. Because see, now I can see how you live. Revolving credit tell me everything about you. You get a $300 credit card. In just a few days, it's at $290. And then you want to pay $10. So now they're reporting how much your balance is like $288. You done used up your credit limit. So FICO is going to tell the banks, don't trust them. Why? Because it obviously shows that you're not making enough money. It shows that you're reckless. It shows that you use everything that you got and you can't pay it off. So therefore you're a what? A risk. That's pretty simple, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So some of your friends tell you, you need to leave some balance on there. Ain't you heard that before? Everybody heard it before. How is that so? How is leaving a balance versus paying it all off better? You're leaving a balance. That means I don't have all the money to pay for it. And if FICO's looking at you to report to the banks and lenders and financial institutions to see what kind of risk you are, what balance would they be looking for?
Zero.
To give you the best, to give you the best potential opportunity to be able to get credit. And here's another mistake that people make. They may pay their credit card off. If they do pay it off, they may pay it off on the 10th, but the billing cycle ain't to the 16th. So they pay it off on the 10th, it shows a zero balance, but on the 11th, 12th, and 13th, and 14th, they was at Papa Do's. And they run it right back up. And then on the 16th, that $300 credit card showed a balance of $214. That's what's being reported. It's not the zero. So find out what the billing cycle date is, leave it zero until the next day. Okay? So it's important to understand how to beat them at their game and to be able to maximize the highest potential credit score, because this chart right here is one of the most important charts. That's why I just flipped through some of them other ones. It's the most important chart on here because this is how you get your money. This is how you cash checks. This is one of the reasons. The next thing is your history. Credit history is critical. The longer you got history, the better. It's just like your children. If they make up their bed on time, if they out to school on time, they do all their chores on time, that's 30% of their behavior for home. If you give them $30 every week for allowances, and they bring mom back 20 on Monday, give it to them on Friday, they keep in low balances. They do better. They do all their work on time. The longer the history they do it, the better they are. That's the same way they judge us. So therefore, what we have to do is to be able to understand that credit history is very good. So therefore, if you have decent credit, or you're starting to develop decent credit, you're getting around the 640 to the 660 range, then somebody goes and offers you a 0% card and they approve you, and you close the other card, you just hurt your credit score. Because you just killed 13 months of credit to take on a brand new card that only has 1 month. So you might want to take it, but leave the other one open, but be disciplined not to use it. Use that credit to establish history, not to spend, because what we have to do is to understand that credit card is not our money. It's somebody else's money. You're borrowing this money. That way, if we max out our credit card on frivolous stuff, when our tire goes out, brakes go out, then we got to go pay their lending or go to somewhere to where we can't pay back because it's impossible loans to pay back. You had the money for these emergencies, but we used it for other causes. When we do credit restoration, we don't do generic credit restoration. I'm going to talk about a little bit of our process while I'm on this slide because you can really understand what we do and how we take a real analytical process. We customize each person's credit. Nobody's the same. When everybody else do credit repair, what do? What does the advertisement say? We what? We erase all bad credit. Well, if you erase all bad credit on some people's credit reports, what they gonna end up with?
No credit.
Can FICO score no credit? Ain't nothing to score. So you just deleted everything. When you turn your credit report over to somebody, you're turning it over to somebody to do surgery on your financial history. We can't look at it by meeting somebody at McDonald's and giving them $500 in cash. They're gonna try to delete everything. And see, when they see auto loans that have been paid off for 72 months, but you had 13 late payments on that auto loan. Well, you had 13 late payments, so that's going to hurt your 35%, but you paid the loan off. That's worth 30%. You still got the history, which is 15%, so you still had some pluses in there. You had some minuses, but they deleted it. So now you're trying to explain to the finance man, I had a car, and he don't want to hear it because he can't see it. So somebody just took a wrecking ball to your credit report. They deleted all this history. See, what we do is we understand how FICO works. You can't, see, these people these companies out here that's doing credit repair, they're not the banks. We got to go with what the banks say, not with what you say. The banks say this is what they're looking for. So what we want to do is when we see things that look like foreclosures or look like repossessions or defaulted student loans or charge-off credit cards or repossessions, when we see things like that, that got history, especially student loans, why do I want to delete it? I want to reverse it to get it come back to show paid as agreed, never late. I want to keep the history 15%. And if we can, for certain things, zero out the balance, that's 30%. That's adding 80% to a trade line that had a negative to it. It's almost like having a D- in chemistry, a D- in calculus, a D- in English, and you want to raise your GPA so you can go to grad school. So this joker go in the transcript office and delete it. Delete all these classes. These, you still get credits for, don't you? Mm-hmm. So now you just lost 6 classes at 6 credit hours. Instead of graduating, you went back to a junior in your second semester. Because you done got to take these classes back over again. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So what we want to do, instead of deleting them, we want to fight and reverse them back to an A, to get them to paid as agreed. Because I realize if we can delete them, we can reverse it. That makes much more sense. People are able to now be able to get more of a powerful credit score. We're creating history. We're creating what FICO is looking for to develop a credit score. So this is critical. The things that we do want to delete are going to be things like bankruptcies, tax liens, judgments, garnishment. We want to delete things like medical, utilities, cell phones, evictions. Those things don't create points, and you can't reverse it. Next. Now, you want to start establishing credit because bad credit costs a lot. People don't realize it, but when you call Atlanta Gas Company or Georgia Power, these people use your credit score to determine your rates. Not just an additional security deposit, but you're going to pay more in therm and BTUs because of your credit score. So you paying like 1.49 per therm when other people's only paying 0.49. That's ridiculous. People don't realize that your car insurance, you're paying double car insurance because of your credit score and not because of your driving record. So bad credit is so expensive everywhere you go. You can be the best qualified for the job, but you can't get it because of your credit. You can be next in line for promotion, but they really don't want to give it to you, so they use your credit to not hire you. Next is, apply for credit. Establish a secured credit card. Reestablish your student loans. This is critical. People who got student loans, these people's scores can go from the 470s into the 720s. Sometimes as little as 45 days. You know why? Every semester they give you 2 or 3 student loans, don't they? At the end of 4 years, how many student loans you got? 15 of them, 18 of them, and all of them is in default. So now we go in there and we challenge these, and we get them to all show paid as agreed, never late. And you had these student loans since 99. Now you got 16 years of positive credit, paid as agreed, never late for all that time. What's your score now? People want to sell trade lines. You've heard of those, right? Yes? Yes. How expensive are they? Very expensive. Some of the cheapest ones, $500. We don't participate in trade lines. We're a nonprofit. We've been certified through the IRS. We don't fool with that stuff. But how we do help to create trade lines is by reversing your negative ones. And they're yours. People don't know the penalty to trade lines. If you buy someone's trade line and they live in California, you're going to have a California address show up on your credit report. So therefore, there's a lot of things that people look at and they realize this ain't your credit. But when we're able to reverse this stuff, then that helps to establish and create the scores. Then you want to get a small auto loan. When you go to start to reestablish your credit, this could be a great thing to do, and it could be a very negative thing to do. Is when you get a secured credit card, it is the great thing to do. But if you don't handle it properly, it can end properly. It'll make life worse for you than better. So when you get the secured credit card for $300 and you run it up and you don't pay those people on time, with the secured credit card companies, if they tell you they want their money on the 10th, the 11th is too late. They want on the 10th. If they don't get on the 10th, and within a day or two, you done ran your balance up to 280, Because when you get the $300 credit card, they only got $220 worth of credit available because they charge you the fees. And then now, if you don't get their money on the 10th, then they're going to charge you a late fee of $35. That late fee, then they're going to charge you an over limit fee. Then your card's at $355, and you try to get gas, and they say see cashier because you done used it all up. And so it's in a bad situation. And then when people writing you and telling you about you owe us $15, you're going to say the card didn't work. Well, it didn't work because you ran it up. And so now you don't pay it. And what happens is the card ends up turning into a charge-off. And here's the deal. I'm going to show you how crooked some of these companies are. So you get a credit card company, you pay them $300. They ain't lose nothing. But they'll keep the card going for about 6 months. They're going to close it after about 2 months. But they keep adding these $75 plus interest. At the end of 6 months, they got the card added up to about $1,100. And then they charge up the card and then tell the insurance companies they lost $1,100. Then their collection agencies are coming at you for $1,100, and you gave them $300 on the card. They ain't lose nothing. What a deal, huh? It's scandalous. And now you're in debt for this kind of money, and really they didn't lose anything. And then the next thing they're going to want to do is try to sue you. Next thing they're going to do is try to take you to court. Then when you go to court, that fee now is about $4,500. But you have a legal right to challenge that debt and challenge the authenticity of that debt. And there's also a statute of limitations to that debt. See, in the state of Georgia, it's almost like if you go in front of the court and you committed a crime, and the judge say you can pay a fine of $5,000 or you can spend 4 years in jail. If you don't have the $5,000, you got to do the 4 years, right? So guess what? There's a statute of limitations for debt too. And in the state of Georgia, in most cases, it's only 4 years. After 4 years, they have no legal right to come after you anymore. Why? Because if you got a car, it's going to be at 29% interest rate. You can't buy a house. You can't get credit cards. Everything you get got to be Fingerhut or something crazy that you can't really benefit from. So then what happens is, ain't that doing time? That's doing time. So how long is America supposed to penalize you over a bad debt? That's why it's called a statute of limitations on how long I can penalize you. There's a statute of limitations on IRS debt too that people don't really realize. There's a forgiveness period. And then there's an offer of compromise because even the IRS don't want to keep you down but so long because if they keep you down, what you going to do? You're going to work underground. You ain't going to tell them nothing about what you do. They want you to start showing yourself again so they can start getting their money again. But there's so much wealth in bad credit for certain financial companies. So do understand that this is how people can end up basically not doing bankruptcies because of the statute of limitations. But then if you go and you got 3.5 years in, you only got 6 months to go, I'm not telling you not to do it, but if you make a $50 payment on a $20,000 debt, you know what you just did? That's right. You just reestablished this debt. Now you got to do 4 more. Yes. Yeah, you got to do 4 more years. That's almost like you being locked up. And them folks turn you back around. It's like, you're not physically locked up, but you're financially locked up. But we don't mind being financially locked up. Sometimes we do. Sometimes we don't. We got to want to change that because we're not physically locked up. So there's ways, and we're open for these counselings, for these phone calls to ask questions before anyone make these errors. You ain't got to sign up with us for us to answer questions for you. We're a nonprofit. We'll answer questions for you. We'll help you with situations. We ask you to call us first a lot of times. We ask you to call us first before you buy a car. There's so many ways to buy a car, even if you have less than perfect credit. Even if you're upside down in your car, and people call us all the time, they say, I'm just going to let this car go and I'm going to get another car before they show it as a repo. Don't that make sense to a lot of people? So, but anyhow, all you got to do is a lot of times when these car lots, they offer $1,500 rebates, right? Y'all with me? Or $2,500 rebates. That's what the car lots offer. The manufacturer may be offering $4,000 or $5,000. So therefore, if the car lot's offering you $1,500 and you take that, then the manufacturer's going to send them another $2,500 for not paying you. So if you go to the manufacturer's website and see what Toyota's offering on certain cars, or Cadillac, what they're offering on certain cars, print that rebate off. Put it in your back pocket. Hold it. Hold it till the deal's almost done. Don't show them your hand. Work that deal. Then the next thing you want to do, if you want a new car, don't buy the new, but buy the just about new, that demo that they let them folks use when you go through maintenance. That got 2,500 miles or 3,000. That's another 4,000 to 5,000 they're going to take off that because that's a demo. Then you turn around and you hit them with that 45 because all they was doing was offering you 15, right? And then you slap that down after you get that final price, and now you $6,000 in the hole in this car. That all that you just did just ate up that deficiency, and you saved the repo. We got to do things to protect our credit, not to do things just to get by, because you're going to end up paying for it when it's time to buy a house. So call us first before you do anything, and let us help navigate you through this thing financially, because it's really not that difficult. Next is budgeting. It's very important. People want to see assets. So the start of our presentation has a lot to do with leveraging your credit versus liabilities versus assets. And a lot of times people want liability, but they don't see it as a liability. They think it's an asset to basically cruise around in one of these Hummers. That's a Benz convertible, and that's a BMW convertible. A lot of times we can think that's an asset because we're concerned about how we look. I could have came in here with blue jeans and a white t-shirt. Y'all might have been like, at first, he's a clown. But after we start teaching, what I have on would become invisible to you. So it doesn't matter what you're driving. It matters about who you are. I'd rather date a girl who got a Toyota Camry than one with a convertible BMW. Because I know next month I'll be making that next payment. It look cute right now. I ain't gotta worry about that Honda or Toyota. She got that. So when we go get a car like that,
that's so funny.
It's about 8 or 9 years old, but it's clean. It's one of these right here. And I make $4,000 a month, but I live home with my mama, and I got a lot of money that I have. And so now the man tells me I can drive off with either one of these for $950 a month. So I figure that's still $3,050 I have, but it really ain't. But that's all I'm looking at. So now I got to go get car insurance, full coverage. I got bad credit, so that's really gonna cost me $450. So that takes my car payment up. The car's out of warranty. Got 86,000 miles on it. So now it's gonna cost me $3,600 a month, a year, to drive that car, about $300 a month. Because the tires on these things is about $400 a tire. The oil change is over $1,000. You know, if a light come on, that's $1,000. So now, and then when gasoline was high, it's a little older slide. So when gasoline was higher, $3 and $4, you're spending $800 a month. So your car payment isn't $950, it's $2,400. And see, ladies, when y'all see these guys coming through with the Hummers and the muscle cars and all this, and he hauling at you, you're like, ooh, he got a nice car. What you should do before you give him your number is go look at his dashboard and see if his engine light's on, his oil light's on, his gas light on. He ain't got no maintenance being done with that car. Look at his tires and see if they like this. Then, if he's straight, give him the number. Because last time, they can't even afford driving what they had. So now, this is true truly foolishness at his eyes. This is the car payment. So he don't have $4,000 a month. He got $1,600 left. And I didn't put nothing on there about Armor All. You know how many times they don't take that car to the car wash. The next thing is, at the end of 72 months of paying for this car, paid $172,800. That's pretty crazy.
Wow. Ouch.
In 6 years. That's what it looked like. That's why when certain people see you driving them in cars like that, they say, that's crazy. Some people, you drive them in cars like that, they say you got it going on. It's just, it's not good to me. Because it's like you're taking your finances and putting it somewhere where it can't add up. Now, in that bad market that we were just talking about, you could have went to Lake Spivey, Ivy, one of them things, and you could have bought $1 million home for $380,000. Isn't that true? Yes?
Yeah.
You could have. And again, it's a little older slide, but your payment could have been as low as $1,869. That car was $2,400. Yes, and that's the next slide. Then if you went and got a 15-year mortgage, and if you split your payment on that mortgage, see, splitting the payment means, like, instead of paying $1,800 on the first of the month, you pay, this is the first of the next month. You pay $950 on the 15th before the payment's due. Because companies can't charge you for interest that you didn't use. So I didn't use this interest. So you got to put more of this payment towards my principal. So that pays it down.
That would be a
Then pay the other $950 when it was due. See, when we keep making our house payment on the 15th of the rear month, you ain't putting nothing towards it. Because that interest is not free. Them days ain't really free. So we got to stay in front of the game, not chasing the game. So basically, by doing this, you could take 3.5 to 4 years off a mortgage and have the house paid off in like 11 years. Remember that car payment? It was 6 years. So what if you bought a house like this, right? And you done paid that $380 down to $190, right? And then the property went back up, correct? Like it did now. The house may not be worth $1 million, but it's worth $850. You only owe $190 on it. So now that Hummer 6 years later, it's worth $4,000.
The appreciation is woo.
If you'd have bought this house and leveraged your money, you'd have been up $620. Just off a 640 credit score to buy a house like that. It's just that simple.
They're making a mistake every day.
People who are veterans are one of the most unused benefit in the country. You know, FHA mortgages, you can go up to what? $346,000, something like that, and only put down 3%. But if you go $350,000, you got to put down 10-20%, because now you're in the conventional zone. VA loans, you can go up to $417,000 in the state of Georgia. You can get in the neighborhoods that other folks put down $80,000 and $90,000 to move in. You can have them kind of neighbors. But we don't use this stuff, and if we are VA, we're not getting our credit done to utilize it. So for us to get into the department, you know, some of the, VA administrations and some of these forts or things like that to offer education to help these soldiers or retired soldiers or people that did, all you got to do is do 2 years and you get the benefit. That's a huge market to educate that market and to show them how they can leverage themselves. And you know what you got to put down with VA? Zero.
You know I'm on them with the soldiers. Yeah, you know
Your closing costs on a $400,000 house be like $2,000. That's crazy. For a year or two.
I did 20.
It's important that we budget. Write down this is where a lot of errors come in. Write down what your rent or mortgage is. Write down your car payment, your insurance, your groceries, your gasoline, your maintenance on your car, your dry cleaning, cell phone, cable bill, other utilities, credit cards, and even entertainment, say $300 a month. Your bills, that comes up to $5,400 a month if you're a married couple. But you bring home $6,000 a month. Okay? Now, if you would operate within it, and when we talk about car payments, you might only have 2 years left on that car. So you paid it off, so that lowers your outgoing, and you're getting raises, so you're even making more money. But if it just stayed exactly the same, at the course of 6 years, you would have saved in just getting about 11% interest over almost $61,000 you would have earned. But we don't even see that money. You know why? Because she's swiping and you swiping. There is no budget. Then here comes the $35 overdraft fees. And you stay behind. Then if there's anything left on the credit card, you swiping that. Just to create some kind of temporary good illusion, good feeling. Going to restaurants and they throwing you out after you done drunk up everything and ate up everything. Party's over. They see you ain't spending no more money. They got a wait list. You got to go. But if we went back to them Big Mama days where we can get together and barbecue, we can watch each other's kids, we can have fun, don't have to leave, we can bring our own goods. That's better fun to me than being in somebody's restaurant. And we can save a lot of money like that.
Amen.
So basically, we understand the tools that we need to work with. We went over the FICO scoring system, the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, the Fair Credit Reporting Act, how to protect your credit, financial independence. So ladies and gentlemen, if we want to make the game fair in America, all we have to do is President Barack Obama always say, if you want to make it in America, as he say, America, all you got to do is work hard. But you need to have good credit too. It don't matter what you do. You ever go down to Savannah and go to Miss Wilkes? That's probably one of the best places you can eat at, ever. Miss Wilkes, not Paula Dean, Miss Wilkes.
Miss Wilkes? Okay.
Yeah. Well, in her kitchen, she got everybody that look like us. And that food is ridiculous. And those people could easily, if I could do a seminar with them and I could handhold them, I can get them with the credit score they need. They can go online. They can start a cooking restaurant with a brand new DBA that's only 1 minute old. Because when you apply for business loans, not only do they ask you for your tax ID, but what else do they ask you for? Your social security number, right? Is that what you said? Because that's what's going to guarantee your loan, is your social security number. They're not concerned about your federal tax ID, and they're not concerned about how long you've been in business. They're concerned about your social. So if your social is like at a 680, then you can get $15,000. In certain places, that's more than enough to open up a restaurant. And you can turn around and fry that chicken and make that macaroni and cheese for yourself and sell it out. But we don't even have the courage sometimes to think of ourselves that we could do more. But we can. And we need people like my econ people with this great leadership from Brian back there. I mean,
That's the man, Brian Bing.
Great respect. And I heard him speak too. And this is the kind of revolution and a mission and a purpose that we need to drive into people's minds to show them that they can. Because what we're doing is we're continuing to curse our generation instead of blessing our generation and bringing them up to another existence. Because when that single mom can turn around and buy that house without child support, and them kids who don't feel as worthy in school as the other kids, like, what you do this summer? I ain't did nothing. Well, we went to California, to Disney World, land, whatever's out there. We went to this and that. You know, when you go to school in some of these public schools in Buckhead, you could have gotten those public schools in Buckhead for $160,000 when that market was bad. Like Sarah Smith, when they have recess, they got Nassau coming in. When we got recess in the public schools, we kicking rocks. See who can kick it the longest. Overcrowded classes, 35, 40 people. In Sarah Smith, they got 12 to 16 people in the class. We can change zip codes without a lot of money if our credit's right. Change our neighbors, change our associations, our friends, and change all this to help our kids to get a better chance. But sometimes we just think that this life is okay because of who we associate ourselves with. We don't look at how Apple and them started in the garage or how Walmart started in a barn. We just want to compare ourselves to this joke over here that got him a swimming pool. Look at them. I'm going to try to get me one. We got to reach out. And by us doing that, we have to do the seminars, the education, the financial education, everything that MyEcon offers, the budgeting, the investments, and all that, to be able to give people a better opportunity to win. All right? That's it for me.
All right.